All right, how's it going, people? Yeah, you see me fuck around with the camera. Farting around with the camera. I got Stinger joining me, and yeah, I'm running this through my computer and my phone because I listened to last week's and my audio sucked, and the video is really shitty. So I'm running this through my phone for you to be able to see and hear me, but everything else is being handled on the computer. So, and
Oh,
the link
that's why
in the
there's two of
description
you,
below.
right?
Yeah, that's why there's two of me. And the link is in the description below if you want to join us. Otherwise, Sting and I are going to kind of continue the conversation I was having on Blog Talk Radio with Rebel and John about gun control here in the U.S. and how I don't see it going anywhere, but we still have to keep the good fight because the second we don't, then it will go everywhere. It'll get everything it wants done. You know, it won't be crazy California, New Jersey, and New York. That'll be America.
Yeah, I got into a conversation not too long ago on Facebook about this whole subject with the bump fire and gun rights, and if we should just say, let them have it or not. And that was, I think, William Forbes. I think that's
Say hi to
oh,
everybody.
what's his name?
You're live.
45 billet bill or bullet bill.
Holy
I
shit,
don't
they can
remember.
see me? Oh, fuck.
No, not Hickok
Mhm.
45. But I have a word to say about Hickok 45 too. Anyway, I got in a conversation about it to this one guy, and he was on the side of the NRA, and that we should just ban the bump fires and get it over with, kind of thing. And I'm like, no, I know, because he's like, well, it's a stupid piece of hardware anyway. And I'm like, yeah, I agree, it's a stupid piece of hardware. It's dumb. You waste ammo. It has absolutely no accuracy. It's stupid. It's for the person who wants to just show off and waste a whole bunch of bullets. We can agree on this. But at the same time, it doesn't make it fully automatic because you're educated, right? And if you don't back the person's right to have that, then, because some people are passionate about it. Shit, I own two of them. If you're not passionate about that, somebody else is, and you're going to want them to come to your aid if all of a sudden they want to start banning your favorite platform, AR-15 or whatever. It's not like they're stopping with the bump stock. They're coming after everything, and we all need to stand up for everything, even if we don't have it. Shit, I'll stand up for muzzle loaders. I don't have a muzzle loader. Obviously, they're not coming after it yet, but they damn well will if we keep losing them all.
Yeah,
And I'll stand up for it when it
quickly.
happens.
They'll be coming through quickly for, everything that we hold dear, you know? And it starts with one. Look at Jaeger. I just noticed on one of my other channels, the Green Dragon in particular, which I don't use much. And Jaeger just put out a video about how he agrees with the NRA.
Well,
Now
Yeager
that's
voted
some
for Obama
bullshit.
twice.
Yeah, but that's some bullshit. This is the same guy who came out with, "Oh, I got my mags loaded, I'm ready."
Oh no, that
And
James Yeager.
now,
Yeah, sorry, forgot who we're talking about.
yeah, Jaeger, same guy, right? Now
Yeah.
he's coming out and going, "Oh, the NRA's right in this and they should regulate it."
Wow.
So
Yeah, I didn't hear
it's
about that
just
one.
got to be ridiculous. You know what I mean? And the Dems have been waiting for this fight. They've been fucking salivating, waiting, dying for this fight to happen.
What's stupid is everybody that is somewhat educated, especially here on YouTube, and James Yeager should know this more than anybody else, is that they're not going to just come after one thing, and they've always said that we should all stand up for everything, or they'll pick us off one item at a time. I mean, what do you think's next? High capacity magazines, most likely, because that guy had too many bullets and he was able to fire it for too long, kind of thing. So what's going to happen then? Is James Yeager and fucking Hickok 45 was also coming out saying that he thinks that bump stock should be done with. You know, these people,
Well,
they're
no, and
cancerous
what
to the
they all
gun
want to say
community.
is it's not the fight they want to have because they have other fights they want to have. So they're willing to
Yeah.
roll over already on this rather than even have the thing they want brought to the table as a compromise for this fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it's so goddamn ridiculous that they fell on their own petards already when the fight hasn't even started.
Yeah,
and you
they
just
didn't
gave
even
them
have a
all the
chance to
ammunition they
call.
needed.
Yeah, they didn't even have a chance to call for a band yet. They were like, "Here, have it. I don't care. Just take it."
Yeah. And it just
I
drives
don't know.
me up
And
the wall.
they're going to expect us to come to their aid when something they like is going to get banned. And they're going to be all over YouTube saying, "Hey, we need support to make sure the Dems don't ban this, whatever." And
Well,
it makes me want to say no, but at the same time, I'm actually a pretty nice person. I probably will anyway.
I'm a gun owner. I don't want them to ban a fuck all. I want them to do away with the NFA, right? I
Yeah.
want short barrel rifles. Okay, if you want to make a whole other thing so people don't have hand grenades and rocket launchers and shit, I might wiggle room then. If you give us back autos and short barrels and suppressors,
All right.
you know? So it's not that there's not compromise there, but and to me that's common sense compromise, because how many times are full autos used in crimes? How often were they used before the Hughes Amendment? Next to nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Even back when
So
fully
it's
autos were
ridiculous
legal,
to me.
even when you could buy a Tommy gun in a hardware store, there was very little full auto mass casualties. The one that I know is the most famous is the Valentine Day Massacre, but I mean, that's Chicago. Hello. Everything
Yeah.
fucking bad happens in Chicago, which is still the murder capital rate of the world. And we don't have fully automatic weapons, but somehow, we're getting more deaths than the mob ever put down.
It's just ridiculous on its face. So hey, 15 viewers, how you doing? Let me say hi to
I'm
anybody
glad you
who's
can see
out
it.
there. Let me go check real quick.
All right.
Let's see. We got Mr. Tommy Boy 9. Hi, Tommy Boy. Tom's Clawtooth. Atomic Bulls. Hi, Desert Pioneer. I sent you a link, HCP. You want to come in and join us, right?
Yeah.
My video feed looks pretty good. I don't know how my audio is doing. It seems like it's pretty good.
I can hear you okay.
What's up, Biker Bob? How you doing? Angel R. Right? Or he said hi to Tommy Boy. America died out there. It's been a while. Yes, sir. Part of Gorilla and JY. How's everybody doing this evening? Right? I hope I caught everybody who's watching. And like I said before, the link's in the description below. I know it works because I'm using it on my phone, so you guys can see me and hear me without it all sounding like I'm still in the fucking 2000s. So
I'm pretty sure we still have that ban on Russian imports on firearms, right? We still have that? Is that still a thing? I think Mule went away. Here you are. You left me for a second.
am I here?
Yeah, you're here now.
You're
I was
here now.
asking you, do you know if that ban on Russian import on firearms is still active?
Yes. Yeah, we still
Okay.
can't get any.
So get this, right? I have the Saiga, which is you can't get because it's evil and it's from Russia. And on that Saiga, I have a bump stock, which is about to be an NFA item. Or yeah,
And
man,
don't you have
if
a
I had
drum
known,
for it?
I have multiple drums for that. I have a 15 rounder, 20 rounder, yeah, 15 and 20. That's what it is.
Well,
Yep.
funny thing is, right? So an American company is getting parts, I guess, from Kalashnikov Inc. or from somewhere in Russia. They're getting some gun parts in, and they're bringing these parts into America, and they're making those same shotguns, basically Saegas, right,
Mm-hmm. One
in
piece at a
pistol
time.
form.
Oh,
In
in pistol form?
in pistol form.
I'd seen somebody
Well,
doing
not pistol
conversions
form.
on them.
Whatever this non-shotgun firearm thing is that they've done with the Shockwave and what's
Bullpup?
like the Remington and the Mossberg, not short-barreled shotguns, not pistols.
Wouldn't that be a bullpup?
No, I don't know. It's not a bullpup. No, you can't
Mm.
shoulder it. It has to have been made what it is. It's a
That's
firearm.
weird because if you have a
Have you seen
sawed-off,
those 14-inch Mossbergs and
oh,
Remingtons?
no, I haven't. But that sounds strange. Well, 14 inches is fine, right? Yeah, that's recommend. That's the actual. What is it? 14 or 16? No, 16 is
No,
the
18
rifles.
inches for 18.5 for a shotgun, right?
Yeah. And how the hell do
Yeah,
they get away with that?
they're not
Because I
putting a
mean, if you
stock
have a
on it. They're just putting a
well, still,
pistol. They're just putting a certain shaped pistol grip on it, and the NFA allowed this thing through, right? So
wow,
it's not a shotgun, but it's not a short barrel shotgun either, right?
wow,
So it's kind of
yeah.
like the AK pistols and the AR pistols, right? It's in that not this, not that area, right?
But if I take a 12 gauge double barrel and I cut off the barrel and the handle and make it a pistol grip handle, that's illegal.
No, it's illegal, right? This thing, it was made originally with that shorter barrel on it, right?
Right?
And so that puts it in this different space according to the
So as long as it
ATF.
never had a stock. Yeah, as
Right.
long as it
But
never
now
had a
they've got an
stock.
AK version of that, right? They got a Sega, a shotgun version of it. And
Nice.
Atlantic Firearms is selling it with the brace already on it, of course, for
Nice.
1,400 bucks.
$1,400. Whew.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's not gonna happen for a little while. Not unless I sell the Saiga I already have, because I bought that thing for $600 when it first came out. And
They're kind of explaining it in the chat room on how that firearm thing works, you know.
the legal definition. You know, if you have to have a college degree in order to figure out the legal logistics of the NFA, something's wrong with that.
Yeah, you better have a couple of lawyers on
Or
retainer. You want
ATF.
to figure that shit out.
I don't know why I'm saying NFA. It's the ATF, right? Yeah.
Well, the ATF interprets these laws, right? Which is the scary thing about this new fucking ban coming down, right? Talking about the speed of the ability to fire, why it can cover every fucking semi-auto in the planet,
Mm-hmm.
is because the way they word it, and then they lead it up to the ATF on how to define basically because they don't really define in this legislation that I read after Mac posted it and shit and told you where to go look. It's just fucking, it's so open ended. You know what I mean? It's going to be where you can have a musket. And there you go. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead to a civil war. Look, if they ever really tried that shit, look, Connecticut didn't give in any of their, the what? The 3% wasn't the people that fought against Connecticut. It was the 3% were the people that turned in their guns.
Yeah.
Right? The same with New York, right? The SAFE Act. How many people turned in their guns? About 3%. It turned out pussy and
The
fucking turned in their guns.
law-abiding gun owners.
Yeah, and look at California, right? California is supposed to be the hardest fucking state to get a firearm in. First of all, some of the firearms this shooter bought were in California.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and let's talk about the timeline keeps changing, man. That shit is getting shadier and shadier by the minute.
Yeah. Well.
And they're wondering why there's
really
so many conspiracy theories out there. Well, maybe if you'd actually get your shit straight
and tell the truth, it'd be,
yeah,
whatever. Look, and it's just not. It's gone beyond, and I'm sad to say that this is not a tragedy that we can sit and they make it that way, right? So these tragedies happen, and you can't sit there and truly mourn these things. You have to immediately gird yourself for battle that is coming to something that's an inalienable right. Why is it we constantly fight for this one inalienable right, the very second one in our Constitution?
Well, we all know the real reason why they're fighting for that, and that's disarm the American public as much as they possibly can, because they're really shady as all fuck.
But then they're really going to get the tyranny that they're fucking supposedly demonstrating for now, right? It's ridiculous.
Well, no, you're talking about the people who don't know shit and just follow along what they're told on the Democratic plantation versus the owners of that plantation and why they're trying to get the guns banned in the first place. Because the slaves to the Democratic Party think, yes, that's the answer because boss said so. And boss is saying so because he doesn't want these people to rise up against boss because boss really likes to have his corruption and make his dollars.
But these are the same people that are taken to the streets to fight against the armed force of boss. The cops and the military and screaming everything about how bad they are and the brutality. And
gotta make that
you know,
point,
one
dude.
minute they're saying take the guns away from the cops, and then they're saying they take the guns away from the people.
Only the law enforcement and the government should have these firearms. The police officers who racially profile black people and the president who is Hitler himself should
Yeah.
have these type of weapons. It's
Yeah.
so stupid, but they just, I don't know, they're like a broken record. They
But they're a
see a
broken
shooting
record
and they
that
have their
used,
talking points.
but they're a broken record that used human misery, right, to get their agenda across. Right? Because why does my tinfoil hat come out on this? Because the guy fucking shot up a country western fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's exactly why it comes. If he's not a fucking Muslim, it immediately comes out to me in my brain that he's a Democrat. Right?
Well,
Why?
not only
Because my
that,
brain.
for
Well, I
me, it
don't
was the
even
same.
look. If I don't know shit about him, it was the same with the guy from Illinois that shot up the baseball diamond in Virginia. Right? It doesn't.
Yep.
I don't have to know shit about these people to see how line A goes to line B. Line A doesn't go to line Q. Line A goes to line B long before it gets to fucking line Q.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason why we don't know all of the reasons why he went and did this. I mean, never, ever has that ever happened where we didn't have a motive of some sort by now. And just about everything he had with him, he hardly used any of it. He only used a few rifles. We don't even know for sure if he used a bump stock. We just know they were in the room, right? But he had like everything on the Democratic checklist all the way down. Tannerite, never used it, but he had it. So now we have to talk about Tannerite and how it can become napalm if you have enough of it. He had fertilizer, didn't use it, but he had it. So we're going to talk about that. And it's just like check, check, check all the way down the Democratic playlist.
Yeah, and there's, you know, look, this guy is, it just goes A, B, right? A, B, C, D. I just follow an alphabet, right? If you want to put the Chinese fucking alphabet, give me the first letter, I'm going to go to the second one, right? I'm not racially profiling shit, right? I don't care what country you have an alphabet from. It starts from one end and goes to another. There's a linear aspect to it. And that's how my mind thinks, right? So I immediately go A to B, right? And it's that simple. Whether it's multiple shooters, one shooter, whether it was a goddamn squad of, you know, ninjas, I don't know. But it still goes that this seems to me to be like on a silver platter given to the Democrats as a platform. And then what pisses me off the most is the people ready to capitulate on this tragedy, right? Rather than fight for something.
Experiencing technical difficulties. Please be patient. I don't know. It's upsetting on so many different levels, though. I've had to turn off the news a little bit. I've only watching like 1 or 2 hours of the news now. Where before I just had it on during the day while I'm doing stuff, and I had noticed I wasn't doing as much stuff because it'd be on about all this, and so upsetting. And then talking to people on Facebook about it, it's upsetting. So I have 2 of these bump fire stocks, and I'm curious to see what legislation is going to come down. Is it going to be that you have to get rid of them now because they're all illegal? You can't have them. Or what I'm thinking is going to happen, he's gone. What I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to kind of do the same thing they did with the fully autos. Hey, welcome back. And that is register them. Yeah. Good thing I'm here to keep the thing going. Yeah, I can see you just fine.
Well, that's why I'm glad I have it on the computer too. You know, the Green Dragon's just sitting there all quiet, like, you know, if I really need to, I'll jump in on there.
Yeah.
But, you know, like you said, this has hit every talking point that they would ever bring up. And then us capitulating before the fight even starts, and all these big YouTubers, which fuck them, right? I mean, the reason why James Yeager's on a channel I never fucking use or watch anymore, this particular one, is, you know, because it's, you know, these fucking people are always willing to lay down their arms. They talk big game, but when push comes to shove, they ain't there. You know?
Yep.
And I mean, these are the same people that at one point, like say, take Hickok, right? This motherfucker was out there, you know, at one point, he was going to protest. He was actually fighting for it. And because they were threatening to take away everybody's everything.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't see that by capitulating on one thing, all you're doing is opening it up as a slippery slope. Feinstein admitted all that shit. First of
Well,
all,
they
she admitted
should
no
all know
laws
this.
would have stopped this.
They should all
And then
know
she
this because
admits,
I've seen this shit on their channels multiple times over the past few years. Multiple times they're like, "Well, we got to make sure that they don't ban this, or they're just going to come after everything else. And if you don't have this, doesn't mean you shouldn't care." I think that was for the high capacity magazines back in the day.
yeah. Well, no, and the ammo too, right? The M85 ammo, the green tip ammo, because like I was saying before I got cut off, it's the same fight to me. The 7.6, nobody gave a shit about because it was AK ammo, right? It's that AK-74, nobody cares, right? So ban the 7.6, no fucking problem, not a peep out of the goddamn gun community, right? But then the second they were coming after the AR ammo to do exactly the same thing, right? Everybody went up in arms. Why? Because that's what they had. Right?
Yeah.
Now, 7, 8 years later, they're like, oh, I wish 74 ammo was as cheap as when I saw it before. Well, nobody fought for it. And that's what your grandchildren, your kids are going to say about firearms. Wow, granddad had the coolest guns. I remember as a kid. You know, well, can you guys have them? Did he leave them to you? Oh, no, he got buried with them, you know, in a locked vault so nobody could get them, you know,
right?
Because they're illegal now. You know, it's funny.
Just dumb.
It goes back to me in a way. It goes back to the old Rush song, you know, Red Barchetta, right? About the car, right? They can't drive it anymore, and all of a sudden you're fucked, right? You go sneak out to the woods to use it, and even there you're fucked. You know, because somebody's going to rat you out that you had this banned item.
Yeah.
You know,
I was touching on that while you were gone too. It's like I wonder what kind of legislation they're going to try to throw down. Are they just going to be like, you got to get rid of these now? They're all illegal. If you're using it, you're in trouble. Or are they going to do kind of like what they did with the full autos back in the day and say, you can have it, you can't make any new ones, but you're going to have to register it, and you can't sell it without a ATF okay. You know?
Yeah. And well, I mean, if you look at some of the legislation that's coming out in some of these state shit that they're trying to push in different states like mine, right, which I've already been calling all my people about, is they're really trying to bring back like the 94 gun ban type shit, right? They want to do away with all of it, all these echo triggers, everything. They want it done. They do not like.
Yeah, because their whole argument now after this shooting is because not only did they learn what a bump stock was, but they also learned how easy it was to make it. And now their whole argument is, well, semi-autos are bad because anybody that's got a YouTube, on their computer can learn how to make it bump fire, and then we're going to have the Vegas thing all over again. So semi-auto, anything is bad because it could be converted into one of these fully automatics. Check that off the list as well.
Well, and you know what?
Feinstein
admitted it. First, she admitted the fact that no law would have stopped the shooting. The guy got it legally, got quite a few of them in California.
And did any of them have bullet buttons, I wonder? Probably not.
Well, the second he brought him over to state line in Nevada and put him to his mesquite house, he could take all that shit off.
Yeah.
Right? No matter where he bought the fucking gun. Right? And be legal, quote unquote. Right? But she even admitted, yeah, she wants this to be a slippery slope. She has not stopped wanting to get that agenda that she tried to get passed in 94, right? Where she wants them all, Mr. and Mrs. America, turning your guns, right? And John brought up a good point. Who the fuck's going to come take them?
Yeah. Oh, I had that conversation I was talking to you about, man. This guy was going on and on about why I shouldn't need all this and I shouldn't need a bump fire and all that. And he was mocking me for saying that, if the government was ever to become tyrannical, that we would rise up. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'd like to see you go out there against a tank or a stealth bomber. And I'm like, you know what, asshole? It wouldn't just be me, for one thing. And for two, you think it's going to be so easy for them to just wipe out any kind of uprise? Well, how long have we been in Afghanistan, motherfucker? I mean, we've got all the technology in the world, but all they've got is fucking AK-47s and some rocket launchers, and they're holding on to their own pretty damn good. Meanwhile, what was it? I was going to make a point.
Well,
go ahead.
The one point I would make to add to what you're saying is first of all, where do you think these kids in the military or people in the military live? Who do you think their mom and dad, their brother, their sister is? Same with the cops. You know, you're thinking all these guys are going to come to your door, kicking it in, wanting the people's guns. Fucking people ain't going to do that.
Oh yeah,
What are they
and
going to go kicking their drinking buddy's gun? They're going to go kicking his door. They're going to go kicking the guy they go hunting with, right? They're going to go kicking his door. They know what's behind that fucking door.
Yeah. And I even made that. I was like, some of the people in the military are not going to be cool with this either. And they're going to have access to a lot of these things. And they're not going to be on the side of a tyrannical government. Also, you're going to bring somebody to come get my guns. You're going to need more than one person. You're going to need probably more than two people to come get it. Now, multiply that by every gun owner in America.
See, and I agree 1,000%, right? And this is why we're in more dangers now than we were under Obama. Under Obama, they needed the 2A people to fight all of his agenda, to be on their side, right? These fucking Republican rhino cocksucking motherfuckers, right? Now that we have a Republican in office, supposedly, right? Because we don't know the way Trump's going to fly on this one. This one's just who the fuck knows, right? I'll be the first one to admit that shit, right? We don't know where
That's
Trump's
why we kind of elected him, though, too, in the first place.
Well, I hope he remembers that, and we need to continue to let him know that, right? Mm-hmm. We need to continue to let him know that we're the ones that fucking got his ass elected, right? But we need to remind all these goddamn rhinos. I mean, you're fucked in your state. You got Flake and fucking, you got two Democrats with an orange in their name.
Flake is done, though, man. Kelly Ward is ripping his ass a new one in the polls.
I sure hope so. I hope McCain's done too. He says he's retiring, whatever. Fuck him. I hope the son of a bitch dies tonight while we're speaking. Yeah. How much I hate that piece of shit.
Yeah, he is a piece of shit.
And, I just don't know. I just don't. I know the only way we fight until we actually start using the magazines that I keep fucking loading and then shooting empty and then loading again, is to fight with our phone calls and our letters and our fucking, emails and shit. Because we have to put these people on notice. The same way that the American people are finally putting these goddamn sports stars on notice, right? By just not buying their shit, not going to their games, not spending your dimes with them, and they can be fuck you. Right? We have to tell the same thing to the goddamn government. Now, we can't withhold our taxes the way we don't buy a ticket to the NFL. I wish you could, people. If you could.
Well, what I'm doing on my end, and I suggest anybody out there who's for guns and for liberty, is I'm not doing any more background checks. I'm done with background checks. I'm either buying them from a private seller or I'm making them myself. And that's how that's going to go down from now on. And if I do buy it from an individual or, buy an 80% lower or whatever, I'm paying cash. I'm not using my credit card or nothing. So they're done. I'm done with doing the background checks though.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm done in more ways than one, even though I might have to, break down and get a slave job again and get back on grid in that way. But
right.
I'm keep trying not to, and we're scraping by not doing it, right? With only one person in the household on the grid. So
I got 40 acres, man, off grid.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There's ways to get around some of it, but it takes a lot of work. And you're not going to be able to withhold your taxes like you can not buying a jersey from some idiot that's making $1 million to play a goddamn kids game.
All right. Yeah. Taxation. Kind of have to pay your taxes.
Yeah, I wish you could. If you do that, then you end up, generally going to prison, or somebody goes to prison if you're in a business.
It's funny. Taxation is theft, plain and simple. No matter how much you're paying in it. Yet you're the one that goes to prison if you don't pay the. Oh man, it's like the mob with their protection money kind of thing.
Well, it basically is a mob.
I mean, I would be okay with it if it actually represented me, but just so many things out there that I don't agree with that they spend money on all the time with this, taxes. I think we should have a little bit more say in where our taxes go. Maybe
I'd agree with that. But it's
funny, I want my taxes to go towards this, and you can have your taxes go towards that kind of thing. I don't know, but stupid, I suppose. But
It's funny. Angel R brings up that he's been sending letters and making phone calls for decades. Me too, right? And the only thing they accomplish is we get blacklisted. That may be true, right? But in some cases, it really does accomplish shit. When you look at after Sandy Hook, right? If and that was under a Democratic, you know, regime, let's say, administration. They should have been able to get some fucking legislation done. They weren't able to. Why? Because we didn't let them. We, the American people, us, those dummies who call and write, email, and fucking those jackasses like myself that do that, right? That it feels so futile. We actually stop them from passing this same kind of legislation.
well,
Same
not
with
only that,
after.
but they kind of blew their wad on healthcare, man. If they really wanted to get gun control done, they could have done that instead of healthcare when they had the House and the Senate.
No, they wouldn't have been able to do that because it was a Democratic. This is why I'm worried now, right?
Right.
Because they really wouldn't have been able to get anything pushed through, right? There would have been fights tooth and nail, and that's why it didn't happen, right? They might be able to get it pushed through now because so many of these rhinos are now, they're not going to back the president because he's not a real Republican, right? So they're going to cave and back all these bills and shit. Guys who never would have 4 years ago, 2 years ago, never would have backed any bill like this are now jumping on board.
Well, yeah, and if this is McCain's last term, then he'll definitely do it because he
That's
didn't
why I hope.
go he didn't go for the healthcare thing, the repeal and replace. The one that he said he wanted to do, he didn't do that because he's harboring bad feelings because the president called him not a real hero because he got
No,
captured.
he's harboring bad feelings because the
Exactly.
American people picked Trump over McCain. McCain did not win. McCain was trashed. His reputation was trashed when he ran for election with Palin, right? And yet here we go. And people called her a reality star or her, a dummy and all these kind of names they called her back in the day, right? And then we elected Trump, right? And he's the Teflon Don in a way, right? So he can grab him by the pussy and he's not going to he's still got elected.
Yep.
Right. He could say, I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and the NRA will still back me. And that was true at that point.
Yeah, it's because fucking Donald Trump comes across as real. Like, even though he's rich, he comes across like a genuine person. Like, an average dude would say, yeah, fuck them. I'll grab her in the pussy. Versus,
right.
Somebody like McCain who's just fake as all hell, man. Just say the right thing and do this and act like this. But behind closed doors, he's a little bitch.
Well, that's where I get worried, right? Because Donald Trump came in as not a politician and he's quickly learning how to be a politician. And you know what? Fucking Reagan, every conservative's fucking, masturbating poster boy,
Yeah, he wasn't the
he was a
greatest.
piece of shit on gun control. He's the cowboy fucking president. Fuck you. He was the asshole that actually put 68 gun legislation through because he was afraid of the Black Panthers, right? He's the motherfucker that signed the goddamn he signed the fucking Hughes Amendment. People talk to me about goddamn Reagan and try and act like he was the greatest end-all, be-all conservative president. It's like, fuck you. This is why Republicans are dangerous, because more legislation can happen under a Republican that hurts Republicans or hurts the base than will happen under a Democrat, because we're wanting to all fight the Democrat. Half the people want to love on the fucking Republican, right? Oh, he's our guy. He'll do our thing. No, they're fucking politicians. They're going to fuck us all.
Yeah. That's where I have my hope for
is right. The Rhino Party is pissed because Hillary lost.
Yeah. A lot of them just don't like Trump just because he's not a politician. How could it possibly be kosher for them to allow somebody with absolutely no experience from the private sector to come in and fix stuff that they've been working on for 30 years? If he comes in there and fixes stuff in his first term that they've been working on for 30 years, who looks fucking bad? They do. So they're fighting him every tooth and nail.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they spent 6 years fighting against Obamacare, getting nothing fucking done otherwise in the goddamn Congress. And then Trump could have gotten it done in 6 months. And they're like, wait a minute now. That makes us look like a know-nothing Congress back then. Yeah, you're still a know-nothing Congress.
Yeah, you wanted the House, you wanted the Senate, you wanted the presidency. You got all three. Now go do what you said you were going to do for 7 years.
And that's what they're worried about.
Well, and the thing is, though, I think Trump's right. And Bannon, he's going to be campaigning hard for all the, people that are running against the incumbent Republicans. And I know he's got Kelly Ward's back. And hopefully, we'll get a few of these rhinos out of office and actually get some people in there that will help. But who knows what the power structure is going to be like after the next midterm anyway. So.
Well, but this is where, you know what, the Donald Trump revolution, or whatever you want to fucking call it, right, needs to carry on and do exactly what you said. We need to vote out these rhinos, right, and get either real libertarians or Republicans or whatever in there, right, to really do the grassroots fighting that needs to get done. And then maybe, just maybe, by the end of, hopefully, if Donald Trump doesn't turn into a fucking politician scumbag, right, after 8 years, we can actually maybe get fucking term limits done in the Congress and the Senate. So that way we can actually really start limiting some of this power that goes between these fucking people and really start looking out for the people of America.
No, I think you're really going for the pie in the sky.
Oh, I know,
I don't
dude.
know.
Totally,
I don't think that'll ever happen, man.
You know what?
You're asking
totally
somebody
snorting
to vote
the whole
against
cocaine. You know what I mean?
You're
when
asking
I look
for
at
the
that.
dealer to stop dealing out the drugs, man.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. But that's what really needs to be done to save America, is putting goddamn term limits. We were able to get it for president because they saw the dictatorship that fucking FDR was starting to pull, right? Getting ideas from Stalin and fucking Hitler, but trying to put a nice little cherry on top of whipped cream around it, But, and we were able to stop that, right? So now we had to stop it in our Congress too with these fucking lifelong senators. Fucking McCain, brain tumor, okay? Guess what? Charles Whitman had a brain tumor and went on a fucking shooting spree. And you've killed more people with the goddamn brain tumor you've had than fucking Charles Whitman could ever dream. Fucking McCain.
Hate McCain. Yeah. I can't believe it, too, because when I was
that
a kid...
piece of shit met with more fucking enemies of the United States and hugged and kissed and fucking jerked off with those motherfuckers than anybody.
Right.
And people want to call him a goddamn hero.
Yeah, and Trump is right, man. A hero doesn't get caught.
That's not true, right? Plenty of heroes get caught, but heroes don't capitulate to save themselves from being tortured, right? Sorry about that. You don't give up, you don't rat out your buddies in the Hanoi Hilton just so you can have a bigger piece of bread. Fuck you.
Yeah, I just recently learned about that too, that he actually sold out, and he was actually on trial for treason, I think, when he got back, wasn't he?
Oh, Nixon squashed that shit real quick because a lot of money came out of his family and shit, and all the fucking, his dad was a goddamn admiral or some shit, and same shit. Well, what?
Hey.
What do I think about Vegas? I don't know what to think about Vegas. So I was telling Stinger a little earlier, a buddy of mine who was and real life buddy, right, of mine who is in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as a few other people I know. He told me that sounded like two different weapons, man. And one was a heavier weapon than the other. So I don't know what to think. I think we're being lied to, but we're always lied to. So what is happening, HDP? If you're talking, I'm not hearing. I see your...
Yeah, I hear some wind in the background, so he must be outside.
Yeah, and I got to be careful because the camera and mic I'm using is my phone while I'm still running this thing through the Green Dragon. So,
right.
Let me see if
well,
I can
I'm not going to say there's one or two firearms, right? But I remember the first time I heard the gunfire, I knew that it was a slide fire, or at least it sounded like a slide fire to me, because with an automatic, it's very, very regulated. It's like exactly in between each shot.
I've heard, and I agree with you on that. And some of it does sound erratic, right? But then some of it sounds a lot more steady.
Yeah.
And that's where, because
going back,
I've heard it from different angles, and there's so much out there because everybody's got a phone, right? And there's probably thousands of hours of phone video that nobody's even dropped, for whatever reason, right? And I got to tell you, some of the stuff sounds way steadier than a bump fire and way heavier than a bump fire, unless he had it on, like, say,
Well,
an RPD, which
well,
I
as
didn't
I
see.
said, they said that he had bump fires in the room. They did not say that he only used bump fires, and they sure as hell didn't say that every rifle had a bump fire. In fact, I think they said 20 rifles up there, and like 12 of them had bump fires, which would leave like 8 of them without. And really, he's probably converted those to full auto, which would take not very long to do, to make them full auto. As far as the second gunshots, yeah, maybe, maybe not. I don't really know. I mean, Vegas is weird. It's got a lot of buildings. There's a lot of ways the sound could echo around.
And I would agree with that argument, except, like I said, the cat that I was talking to, right? He rolled in with them. He did a couple of tours in Iraq and a couple in Afghanistan, and he said he's been in densely populated areas where the sound does ricochet, but not the way that does, right? Not the way that sounded. There was too much. He's been under fire. I'm not, right? I'm not trying to claim I know exactly what I was just listening, and I'm just repeating what I've heard, because I've not been shot at. I've not been shot at by full auto, machine guns. Okay. Or an AK. I've not been shot at by an AK or an AR, full auto. So I don't know those sounds, and I've not dealt with it for a long period of time. He has, and he did not like, he does. He's not believing it, and he's not a conspiracy theorist. He does not believe the story, period. He says there's at least 2 people, and that one is running something heavier.
Well, the more and more they change the story, the more and more I'm believing less of it. So they need to figure this out, because it's just looking shadier and shadier. Every different timeline, every different excuse.
Yeah, and now, first I heard that he shot at the gas tanks and it wasn't that big of a deal, and now I'm hearing that it's incendiary bullets, right, which have been
Well,
banned
yeah.
in the country.
Well, first of all, it was regular bullets. Then it was tracer rounds. Now it's incinerary rounds.
Yeah.
Which you can't buy incinerary. You can buy tracers, and you can buy armor piercing. I mean, you might have to reload it yourself if it's truly armor piercing, because you can't buy that already made. And maybe, I don't know about incinerary. I'm sure there's ways of getting it. But obviously it didn't work.
Yeah. And I don't even know if they make AR rounds that are incendiary.
And who's to say that he only had ARs, though? I mean, there could have been other types of rifles.
Right. Well, I'm just saying. Well, because that's what they keep showing us. That's what was leaked, right? Was the view of an AR with a surefire mag, and a fucking EOTech.
I mean, if he was such a gun guy, then he should have known that he's going to need a little bit something heavier to get through those tanks. Why did he have an AR-10? I'm kind of curious if he had an AR-10 or something heavier than that, even, because anybody that knows bullets knows that you're going to have to have something to penetrate more.
Didn't FN just come out with a semi-auto 240 Bravo or something like that? A SAW?
I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, I'm not sure.
FN this year, last year, came out with their M4, their M16, and the SAW as semi-auto only rifles, because of the boom that's happened in collecting military type rifles. So they came out with straight up what America has.
This guy is not
semi-auto.
This guy wouldn't be a gun guy anyway, if you think about it. There's not really much to go on, but the thing that I'm going on that he's not really much of a gun guy is he shot at a thing of gas, thinking that it was going to explode like it does in Hollywood movies. Anybody that knows anything about guns knows you shoot a gas can on a car, it does not blow up.
Right.
It has to be an incendiary round. Even then, the good chance it's not going to blow up.
Well, he'd been better off if the tanks were empty, right? So,
yeah.
Look, anyway, it's all just. This is going to end up just like, all the rest of them, from fucking JFK to 9/11 to Sandy Hook. It's going to fucking all end up the same. where we're not going to get any of the real information to make an honest decision, and they're only going to work off of the people that make those visceral, instant reactions.
Yeah, that's what my fear is. I'm hopeful, though. I keep holding out hope that somebody got footage somewhere that's going to drop it, and it's going to blow this all open.
Yeah, well, who knows, man? I hear the baggage delivery guy disappeared now for some reason in Vegas. Who the fuck
And
knows?
somebody robbed this dude's house. The shooter, he had a house that the police were supposedly watching, and somebody broke into it while they were supposedly watching this house. So who knows what evidence they took out, or if they were even trying to take out evidence. What's up, HDP?
Technical difficulties.
Apparently.
I was having all kinds of... Well, I wasn't. Was I muting you guys or messing you guys up?
No,
you're fine.
Okay. Buttons, and I thought I was messing you guys up there for a second.
No, I'm running the view and the audios through my phone, but I'm still running this on the computer on Green Dragon because how shitty my stuff, the old Green Dragon equipment is.
Phone?
Yeah. Hey, Reb, if
That's
you can
crystal
hear
clear,
this,
man.
I sent you a link over on Facebook. Reb's asking for a link. Your link's over on Facebook.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Down Periscope, HDP?
Hey, you guys chat it up a second. I got to go hit the head.
Yeah. Apparently, apparently Mule.
Boat movie?
Yeah, it's the submarine movie. Anyway, apparently Mule's got his little hamster wheel thing going. He's got it all set up to where he's got it through his computer, but he's not on his computer. He started it up on his computer, but he's actually on his phone. Why that is, I don't really understand it, but that's how he's got it running. Yeah.
That's how Mule got his computer running?
I don't know, man. It's crazy. But at least it's working for him.
Right. His picture looks really clear. I don't think I've ever seen his picture that clear.
Yeah. He's also broadcasting from his closet, so that's pretty cool. So how's it going with you, man? I've been watching some of your videos.
I've just been getting on. This Vegas thing popped up, and it's just the most... It was as bad as it was, like, out of the blue and totally didn't make sense. It gets worse and worse, like, daily. Like, something new pops up. You're just like, that makes no sense.
Exactly.
It's beyond comprehension at this point. And the sheriff's starting to show it in all his press conferences that he's pretty afraid to the end, which could mean a lot of things. But the conspiracy theories are just spinning because they can't control it because they don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, they keep contradicting their own selves.
Well, yeah, and so much contradictory like video, you know what I'm saying? So now some of it's easily debunked, but some of it's not. When you're starting to see different angles and hear different angles.
The very first video the night of at like 11:30 on Twitter, there was a post, and I said, "That is too far."
I saw that.
I was like that, and I had a discussion with some buddies who have been in firefights more recently than me, and I was like, "That is one heavy medium machine gun, and that's a lighter one right underneath it. You could hear it." And everybody, we were all a bunch of agreed that.
That's pretty much exactly what a buddy of mine told me, who's been out with us a lot of times at the range. And he told me that shit, and I was like, man, I'm the tinfoil hat guy. How'd you get one?
Well, you could hear it. It was right there. It was plain hearing. And then they came out with this single person narrative, and it's like, hold on. Were you hearing anything everybody else was last night? So it's only gotten crazier and crazier because there's supposedly no background on this guy, which who's a government agent is going to have a clean background, et cetera, et cetera. There's too many things that, like I said, there's no such thing as coincidence, right?
Yeah.
Well,
my fucking tinfoil hat's out, man. I'm just not doing a ton of videos about it because I already know what the agenda is about, right? So whatever it is, and this is where people crack me up when they bitch about it being called a false flag, right? You don't understand what the false flag is. They're willing to kill a lot of fucking Americans to get their fucking agenda across.
I almost don't think it was a false flag. I think it was a botched operation, and the bad guys took advantage of it. That's
that
one
could
of
be
my.
too. I mean,
I think it was a busted deal.
That wouldn't. That's not a crazy ass scenario to me, right? Them doing a gun deal somewhere with a bunch of people with shady backgrounds that take advantage of the situation because it's just an old man selling them the fucking guns, and they shove his 38 in his fucking mouth and blow his brains out. Take half the guns that they were going to get, use them, and then leave them there for him to be the fall guy. That's a working scenario in my head.
And the reason the girlfriend isn't implicated because she's a collaborator with the G-Men, you know,
Hey,
or
Mo,
whoever. I mean, that
Rev
suspicious $100,000 that went across. That could have been a down payment on the thing, and the way to get it out of the country.
Yeah.
So,
lots of working theories.
Yeah,
that will probably
and
never
no
be proved.
To fight them.
Right.
And that's why I say I got to go beyond it, right? So whatever happened in Vegas, I'm never going to really know the truth to my satisfaction, but I do know the fight that we're going to be facing ahead as civilian gun owners, right?
Yep.
And that's the fight that we have to take to these people again. With the minimal way that we can do it is with phone calls and fucking, letters and emails and signing petitions. But you got to do it, right? Because if not, believe me, they will gladly give it a shot at trying a fucking Australian type of fucking situation or a British type of situation. Believe me, they would definitely like to give it a shot. And the way the Republicans are going these days, where they're not wanting to get the president's agenda done, and they're more than willing to back the fucking Democrats then on something like this, especially if he comes out on our side. Oh, forget it, man. They're going to fucking do their damnedest to try and take away the Second Amendment. And then blame it on Trump.
Well, it's those dangerous semi-autos that's so easy that even a child could convert it over to a bump fire and make it fully auto.
Well, yeah. All you got to do is put it in their belt loop.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's that's such a distraction from any issue whatsoever. It's like, I mean, the bump fire, all the different things they're talking about with what they want to ban, like, has nothing to do with the incident. So obviously, they already had this stuff pre-built in the pipeline, ready to lay out whenever the opportunity arose.
Yes.
So it's part of the agenda. They just laid it out.
Yes. I wish somebody would do a reenactment of this, at least to the point where you're up the same amount of height as the 32nd floor or whatever, and you try to shoot at an area with a bump fire and see what the results are. I'd be very curious on that.
I would like to do, if this is one of those things you got to have the time to do it, I'd like to just get a similar angle, elevation like you're saying, and just take 100 rounds in 9 minutes, and I can get, I think I get 100 hits, kill hits. Not, that bump fire didn't make him less accurate, not better. I think you can compare exactly what you're saying. It's hard to get that many targets to put out to show the results. Like, it's kind of anecdotal because every situation is different, but you can't convince me that a senior citizen that's never fired can get out there and throw down a full auto and have any type of clean results.
Well, full auto for 10 minutes, man. 10 minutes. Have you tried? I mean, you might have HDP, but I mean, when I shoot my AR with bump fire and a 150-round drum mag, even when it's on the bench, I can do that for maybe 2 minutes tops. After that, I'm tired. Now, that's just me. I'm fat and I'm out of shape, right? But I've been hearing from other people that actually do full autos all the time in the military that say that 10 minutes would be hard for anybody to do, let alone a 50-year-old, retiree.
Oh, yeah, to hold it in on target. I mean, even on a tripod, it's not an easy task, And
that's why.
And I think he stood up there in the standing position holding a, 12, 15-pound rifle for with that long. And this guy is a nobody.
With bump fire, which is a lot more difficult to accomplish bump fire than it is just a full auto. Because you
And
have
he
to
had
have
every weapon that I
perfect.
saw had an optic on it, which was basically useless as soon as he started laying it down like that.
Yeah, I was explaining that to
Because those are
somebody too, 'cause
designed for
that optic is going
single
like
aim
this.
shot. Yeah, and so the optic. Why would he buy the optic if he's gonna like? So many things don't make sense. It's just like it was almost like a staged platform there when they took the pictures. Like, here's all the bad black guns that everybody's so scared of that we want to get banned, with all these scary things attached to them. It's just beyond belief how far down the rabbit hole this is going. Oh no!
Hey, he finally made it. What's up, Rib?
Thanks, Sting.
Dude, I'm over here working my ass off trying to get that link to work.
Yeah. I don't know how to use Facebook, man. It's worthless to me.
Yeah, well, you're on.
Well, the link was also in the description below, Rev, but I figured you could read.
You know what? I was looking for it there, but Sting got to it before I had to go that route.
Oh, okay. How you doing, bud?
I guess I worked for nothing.
Good,
Now this
man.
really
Boy,
is an old dragon, right? All we need is fucking Tony, but he's somewhere in the boondocks with shitty fucking internet.
That sounds
yeah.
like me half the time of the week now.
That's oh yeah, look at where you are, Sting. You're back in the city.
I'm back in the city for now. Yeah, I got good internet for a little bit.
So if how long has it been since we did a dragon? And here
A real dragon?
It's the same shit. We got a mass shooting. We got a false flag. We got legislation. We got SARS. We got Simeon's disease. We got it all.
Well, what do they say the price of liberty is? What's the price of liberty, Reb? Eternal vigilance, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. Oh God.
It is a throwback, though, isn't it? It's kind of like the good old days a little bit.
Yeah, too bad Tony's not.
That's scary that you're calling it the good old days.
Well, I do kind of miss you guys sometimes.
Not really, because things are a lot worse off than it was then. It seems like still.
Yeah.
Not good. That not
is it
good
worse?
for what we're talking about.
Is it worse?
In some ways, yeah. In some ways, it's better. In some ways, it's worse.
I would like to know what way it is better. I'm still waiting for that.
I know how it's better.
It's not Hillary.
Well, no. Shoot, we got to go way back, dude. Hillary, shit, we were John before Obama.
Yeah.
You know. So, but no, it's better because we've all progressed since then. I mean, this is nothing new. This is all the same shit, just different actors, you know.
I mean, individually,
yeah.
And now we get to teach the next generation on how to be vigilant.
There you go. I forgot, how funny some of this shit is. I was just listening to them. I was spitting my drink out. God damn, I forget your bar humor is fucking on point, brother.
Well, shit ain't the only thing that stopped happening was us meeting and doing it live and us meeting, talking on the internet, really. Shit ain't changed. My attitude hasn't changed. The only thing that's different is, I got a new 45 and you got a new CZ10. So
yeah.
You have to tell
those
me more
are
about
really
that.
the two new things,
Yeah.
I got a 15 round 45 and you got a 9mm.
I didn't get any new guns, but I got 38 acres.
There you go.
That's better than both.
That's
progress. You got 38 acres and a mule.
No, I ain't out there.
No, he ain't out here yet. No.
He keeps trying though. He's like, "Hey, you and Red, there's property next door."
There is, man. The 20 acres right next door.
Yeah.
So, but hey, just to get a little off the gun stuff, and still keep HD. Sting's going to need a lot of help with his homesteading. And
don't look at me. He's got far more advanced things to do than what I'm doing.
What?
Well, once he gets all that stuff, once he gets all that stuff set up, though, the raising pigs and the chickens that you got, I do watch some of your videos, your vlogs. The grind.
Right.
Which it really is anymore, man. It's a fucking grind trying to fight everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
Talk about
so much of raising animals is just time. It's not that they take care of themselves to a large degree. I think
I know Reb can't wait
horticulture, I think, is more difficult.
Well, I raised
Reb,
animals when I was a kid. I mean, we had goats, we had horses, we had chickens and all that stuff. So, I mean, for the most part, chickens are pretty easy. I'm going to start with that. It's been a while since I've done it, so obviously I want to take it slow. I don't want to get a whole bunch of animals and like, oh shit, I can't take care of them.
But the hardest thing is if they get sick, and you have to take care of them, or if one gets rejected by the mom or whatever you're going to do with stuff like that,
Right.
It's those things.
Yeah, but HD was going to do a video on the amount of meat that they would actually.
Oh gosh, I still got to do that. I know. Yes, thanks for reminding me.
No, but
I got to get that spreadsheet out.
That is the nuts and bolts of the reality of it. That's what I'm waiting for, because that's brilliant. Because whoever thinks of it, when you can just go down to the local grocery store and grab all your stuff all wrapped up and ready to go, who can understand what goes into that and how much meat you eat and just the whole idea of that. It's fascinating.
I eat way too much. And that is a good video.
I don't consider
luckily,
it
I'm not going to worry about it for a while.
I'm back on the paleo diet after I was sick for a while from that ended up with tetanus, lost a toe. But I'm back on the paleo diet, and that's all I really eat is meat, and meat and vegetables.
Right.
Yeah, but to do the math on, well, shit, how many animals would I have to feed my family? How much grain or how much,
per year?
Yeah, it's just fucking fascinating, and I'm just fascinated by old school,
Well, here's the thing. Sorry, go ahead. Well, what I'm learning is that if you think about it too much, you're going to overwhelm yourself, right? So, I'm going to start a garden. I'm going to start chickens. And, I might eventually get some other animals. But I'm not really planning on, oh, shit, I want to have to go off grid. And I only want to, eat meat that I either harvest myself or I go out and hunt. Because if I did that, I wouldn't be eating no meat. There's just no freaking way. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep buying my meat. I'm gonna keep buying it. I want to preserve it, can it, whatever. And eventually I'll get the chickens, and then eventually I might get some goats, and then eventually, I'll work my way up to it. Is what I'm saying. Instead of just like, oh shit, I got to do all this at one time, because just the projects alone at this property is overwhelming, and I'm trying to do those one at a time right now. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's all, just a step-by-step process. And the same with, the kind of homesteading that HD's doing. I mean, shit, I watch not all of them, but I watch a lot of HD's vids, and I used to watch all of them. And even back in the day, it's all a step-by-step process. From chickens to rabbits to now goats, and he's done away with the rabbits, still does the chickens, and pigs
just
now.
A lot of people that watch these kind of videos, and even myself included a little bit in on this, is when you're thinking about doing this and you're like, ooh, that would be cool, and that would be cool, and I want to do this, then that opportunity actually might arise, and all of a sudden you're like, I got to do all this stuff right now or the end of the world's going to happen, and then you just go nuts. You don't realize a lot of these people that are doing this kind of lifestyle did this over a long period of time,
Yeah,
and that's why that's why the lead video on my channel is start now, just with whatever you do, and I do that video that I did a while back because Viking Preparedness did that video about getting started and just the incremental steps that you have to do. It's just because of the learning process, plus whatever situation you're in is probably not where you want to be in the future. So it has to progress, but it has to start now, because if you don't learn the small things, you never progress. You're never going to get there. So you got to start.
Yeah.
And it's got to be the small things. Start with the small things. So many people talk about just doing a container garden stuff. Like, yeah, do that. That's excellent.
Well,
5 years ago, I didn't think I was going to have a field full of goats and some pigs. That's not what my mind wasn't there. It was do what I could at the time.
And
what makes the most sense right now.
Right.
Did Mule freeze again?
Yeah, I think so.
The step-by-step nature of it. Let me do a quick shout out real quick because there's a bunch of people in the chat room. I saw Tactical Tony was in the chat room there for a minute. Go say hello. All right, so we got No Swag 21, Bikes and Bullets is out there. Partisan Gorilla is out there. Time Boy 9 is still out there. Angel R is still out there. Tomas Tombs Clawtooth is still out there. Biker Bob's out there. What's up, my Canadian friend? Hey. He might be looking to move next to you. He's been looking at Arizona pretty hard. You're not that far from Pete.
Dude, man, I love that area too. The area that we're living in is just beautiful.
Sigma Rising, how's it going? Atomic Bulls, always glad to see. I shouted you out a little earlier. I feel like doing it again. Partisan Gorilla. Let's see. Now I'm heading towards the bottom. Home Run. What's up? Jack Black. William Garns. How you doing, William? Galanis Vilkis. I knew you'd be there. How you doing, Galanis? And there's a new one that I've not seen. Perotet Pepe Vasnu. She studies botany. Looks like a female's picture. Anyway, good.
Botany, huh? That's
awesome.
Cool.
I think QC Hemp was out there. That's what actually made me want to do the shout out, was to say hi to Jim, QC Hemp. How you doing, Jim? Another one like Tony. You guys could jump in and it would still be the old panel. But this is awesome. I got to tell you, I haven't talked to you guys, especially in this group, in a long time.
Yeah.
And Rebel decided to call tonight over on the Blog Talk Radio.
And I missed
the first time.
Apocalypse
it was the first
warning,
time on his own fucking show.
It was serendipity, I guess. I clicked on Facebook. John had a link, phone number. Hope that was toll free, by the way.
Yeah.
Cell phone
cheap
minutes
ass.
Cheap ass. Nothing changed.
Nope.
I bet you're waiting for fucking free bacon from HDP when he slaughters those pigs.
He told me he doesn't eat meat anymore. He's all vegetarian.
It scared me, though. It scared me when you said it's been a year. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been a while.
Yeah, and that's not actually true. The last time I talked to you was right after the election, I think. Sometime right around there, because you lost the bet.
No. But I talked to you after you got out of the hospital.
Oh, that's right. Phone. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, remember, there has been quite a few teddy bears tonight, especially after the call-in show.
Right.
So
yeah. Good deal.
Travis is gay. Yep, you're right. You're right, Jay Watt. Man, that's an old one. Oh, look. Winging It Tracy's out there. How you doing, Winging It?
Right on. Did you get a lot of calls in today, Mule?
No, just Rebel. Rebel's the only one that called.
You know what? And I thought about it, and then I got sidetracked, and guess what? It was 7 o'clock by the time I realized it was I wanted to call in. I thought about it hard.
Well, you can go. Here's the thing, and I had to explain to Sting. You can go listen to that if you didn't catch it live, right?
Yeah, I know that. I listen to it occasionally.
Yeah, you can go listen to it as a podcast later on.
Yeah, but I wanted to call in because I knew you were going to be on point tonight.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing's fucking ridiculous, right? And I said it last week on that show, and that's why
James Yeager said
I started. I opened the Dragon last week for the same reason, because while Rebel's laughing at us that we're back talking about the same old shit, and it's true, but it's because the fight's never done. This is what eternal vigilance means, is then I pass that vigilance on to my son and my grandsons, which I now have 3 of, so fuck you, people. Okay, guess what? I'm going to teach them about liberty. I'm going to teach them about personal responsibility. I'm going to teach them to become functioning members of society, yet liberty-loving people at the same time. And that's a damn fine line to walk.
Yeah, it is. I was gonna ask, is this Jaeger thing like recent? Because I don't watch his shit. I don't watch much of YouTube at all, to be honest.
Oh, he caved on. He doesn't. I didn't watch it. I'm not going to. I read the
Right.
Oh, it
title.
was. You gotta watch it. Oh, you gotta watch it. Come on.
Well, I knew of
He
Hitchcock
totally.
45 because that was on Facebook, and I caught that. The Hitchcock
Yeah,
45s against bump stocks now.
I've been done
Which
with
is
him for
stupid
years.
because, no, but he has a
Really?
shit ton of bump stock videos.
No, he took them all down.
Well, yeah, probably now, but he did. He made a lot of money on the
He
things
took them.
too.
He took them down before. But he took them down right after the tragedy, right, and before YouTube started banning them. I'm sure YouTube probably gave him a heads up, or somebody did.
Nobody gave me a heads up, although I should have known because I heard everybody else was getting banned on them. But I was like, fuck it.
Oh yeah.
It's just my little channel.
Yeah, I'm still in the I don't give a fuck stage, and now that YouTube's especially here on YouTube, another reason why I opened up the Dragon is because YouTube keeps on pissing on everybody in the gun community all the fucking time, nonstop, right? And while I don't want to do this fight anymore all the time, I have other shit to do. It looks like it still needs to be done. You know, these kind of conversations that we have here, or we had here, you know, and maybe we can have again.
We've
You
been
know,
fighting
bringing
this
people
fight
together.
so long, though, that if we didn't have to fight this fight, we would be in conspiracy mode saying we should be fighting a fight that because something's
No,
going
dude, I'll
on.
tell you what. One of the reasons why I was happy when Trump became president. Well, like HD hates it, right? But to me, I backed off quite a bit because I want to take a few fucking breaths and deal with my family and take care of shit that needs to get taken care of. That I don't have to pay attention to what's going on in the rest of the world. I can finally look to me and mine and give it some focus, you know.
Right.
And I think that happened with a lot of people. But it turns out that the fight's not over, and electing Trump was, like a lot of people said, he's just going to be another politician. Give him time, right? He's not going to stay the fucking joker.
Well, he
He's
can't
going
do
to become a
everything
politician.
anyway because, I mean, we have 3 branches of government. So even if he wants to do something we agree with, doesn't mean it's going to get done.
Well, I just wish like fucking Gita Binsberger Kennedy would die already, god damn it, so he can lock in the fucking Second Amendment and the goddamn SCOTUS, and we don't have to worry about this shit, right? But that's not true, because look at what happened under all these other, supposed Republican and conservative courts. You know, Republican administration and conservative courts. We get the worst gun legislation then, right? The only bad one that came under a Democrat is the one people still keep harping on, the fucking assault weapons ban, which started under fucking Bush. With him banning all those imports and shit left and right. So, you know, this is the problem with people not even knowing history. Is it will fucking repeat itself and then get worse.
And it's not just the Democrats who are after your guns half the time either.
No, it's all these people that since the sunset of the fucking assault weapons ban have been living high on the hog and, you know, building businesses and fucking having all the fun toys and shit or whatever, and all these great fucking muzzle brakes and hand guards and all this shit going hog wild for years, right? Not worrying until they came out against the fucking ammo ban for ARs did they start riling up, right? And show some real fucking backbone, right? But because they were taken away from their toy. You know, otherwise they're willing to give these things up, and unless
nobody
we fight,
sticks up. They're only a lot of talk. You know, Jaeger, he's all talk. He's like, "Oh, you should support everybody." And then here he is. Oh, bump fires they should be banned. I mean, people are so fucking two-faced. It's not even funny. And I'll stand up for anybody's firearm rights. You know, whether I enjoy it or not, just because. Hey, I'm going to expect you to do the same for me when they're coming after something I like.
Look, I get in a lot of fights with people because while I hate people burning the flag or taking a fucking knee, I think they have their right to do so as Americans, right? You can burn the fucking flag, you can take a goddamn knee, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Now, you're responsible for your actions and you're responsible for your words. And we've said that a billion times on this particular fucking chat, right? 4 years. You know, I don't have to like it, but I will die for your right to be able to do that. And it looks like it's going to begin to bite us in the ass.
Well, that's the reason why we have a lot
God
of these
damn it,
people.
I need to start drinking whiskey again.
Yeah. we have a lot of people that are preaching communism and Marxism and all these things because of the fact that we give them that platform because we believe that they should have the right to speak their mind.
And they do. The problem is we keep letting them speak their mind and not giving a counter argument to it, right?
Well, we're not allowed to, right? Because we allow them to go ahead and have their argument, but in turn, they call us racists, homophobes, and bigots if we have any opinion that they don't agree with.
Yes,
how that
and that's
works?
what it's become. That's what it's become. That's why they're willing to give up the fucking First Amendment, because they think that an argument that might contradict what they hold dear, right, is thereby heretical, so you shouldn't be allowed to say it, which is, fuck, it's ridiculous.
At the same time, we're like, well, they have a right to say that.
And they do.
I know they do.
They have the right to try and stop it.
It's so asinine at the same time,
And that's why freedom's so fucking scary, and why it takes eternal vigilance, and why it's dangerous, right? Because not only is it guns are dangerous. We can all fucking agree on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Guns, the real point of a gun is to kill something. Now, we use it for sport, and we use it for target and hunting and all kinds of other shit, but the real purpose of a gun is to kill or destroy something, whether it be human or otherwise, right? So it's the same thought with speech, right? There's fucking knowledge is knowledge, right? How you use it is what the real freedom is your freedom to use it, right? They're not going to be able to stop people from bump firing because the knowledge out there is already how to do it, how to make them, how to use a stick, how to use your finger, how to use your belt loop, right?
They can't
They're not going to be able to end.
If they ever try to outlaw tannerite too, hello, cold pack and some aluminum, shavings. There you go.
The thing is, like the military arms channel video was probably the best one I've seen on this. The user is the most dangerous. The person using the tool is the dangerous portion of this whole scenario. Yeah. So when they start outlawing my trigger finger, that's what they're going to have to come after. They're going to have to come after the individual.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can make that point all day long on all these places, but people are still stupid. I mean, if somebody wants to go and kill a whole bunch of people, they don't need a gun. We've seen that many a times. But on the other hand, they're like, well, guns.
Wait a minute now, Russ. You don't want to blame those Muslims for driving trucks into crowds of people, right? Because you can't blame the Muslim religion for one individual doing some fucked up shit, right?
Oh, is that the same as the
we
gay
do need
club?
to blame the Second Amendment and the gun owners of America for every time another person dies by the gun in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the same kind of thing with the Muslim in that gay club in Florida, right? They didn't come out and say what nationality he was for a long time. He calls 911 claiming he's doing it for Allah. They don't report that for how long?
So, look, people. We already know we're in for a fight. And, I don't think any of us, look, I don't hunt, okay? I target shoot. And the main reason why I keep guns is to protect my family from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Right? So there it is, right? Me and my family, I'm protecting them, whether it's the guy coming at night to steal my shit or the cops coming at night to steal my guns and my rights and my property. Fuck you, all of you. Don't care. Right, and that's my American right, and I'm going to take that to my death. Now, whether it's within the next 5 years over, a fucking high blood pressure and a heart attack, or which is more likely, right? More likely than getting shot, right? More likely than having to fight my government is I'll die peacefully from a heart attack. Hopefully, in my bed after having great sex with my wife.
Well, maybe they should ban those assault nuggets.
Well, that would actually save a lot more lives if they banned the chicken nugget. If they
my God,
the fucking slide fire.
Well, that's the problem, though, is that they take the incremental approach so that you will die peacefully, and the next generation will understand the incrementalism, and they'll get a little bit, and then the next generation, it's creeping.
Just a frog until a slow burning pot. Yeah.
But there's enough turnover of generations that it's not as realized. Like the original assault weapons, not assault weapons, the 68 legislation or whatever.
Gun Control Act, yeah.
Yeah, it was really before our time. We don't recall that at all. But
Well,
we remember the
NFA was
80s.
in
I mean, we know
33,
about
long
that.
before our time.
Yeah, so it's incrementalism.
So,
It's generational.
So we've
And they
all
play the
grown up
long
The funny
about
game.
part about it is the NFA, right? It's actually a perfect mirror, right? The fucking NFA Act was a response to the fucking Valentine's Day massacre, right, in Chicago. And if they try and push any legislation now, it's going to be in direct result of what happened in Vegas. You know, and it's not going to matter who
bump
did
fire
it
is
or
now
why.
full auto. Bump fire is going to be now full auto, and if that's the case, there's nothing from stopping people with bump fires to say, fuck it. I know enough about guns, I can turn it full auto. If I want to be a felon anyway, might as well be a felon with a full auto.
Well, if you're going to be one way or the other, I mean, really, it comes down to that, right? And
Yep.
what's going to happen is a large portion of the population is going to give up their fucking guns.
That's true.
And especially in any state that you had to have some kind of background check in when you bought it, like you were mentioning earlier. You know, they have records. Those fucking FFLs have to keep records.
Yeah, and if they,
Of every
you know, it's
purchase.
funny too because they'll be like, "Well, we're just doing a background check. We're not taking inventory of what you're buying." Bullshit! Right on the background check, they put down the make and model of the firearm that you just bought, right on there, and they actually communicate that over the phone with the person too. They're like, serial number, this, and this. I'm like, why are you giving them the serial number? Oh, it's just for record keeping. They're not keeping it on file for, okay, whatever.
Well, that's why I think.
Right.
I actually, I know there's been plenty of tragedies, right? Puerto Rico and Florida and the Bahamas and fucking, some of the islands down there that are American territories and in Houston, right? But I really hope that those fucking safes and wherever those records were kept, that they weren't flood resistant, because I would love to know what happens in the case of that, because I know where I bought my firearms and I actually know how, anyway. But I would just like to know what happens in that case.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm done with buying anything with a background check. There's so many ways to get around it now. The whole gun show loophole, whatever you want to call it. But
you live in Arizona, right? I can't get around it now.
Oh, you have to have a background check just for private sale, right?
Yep. In the state of Illinois, we do. That's why I'm getting the fuck out of here once my kids know in high school. But yeah.
Well, you should get yourself a jig and some 80%ers.
No, I don't need none of that shit. I know I live not too far away from a fucking National Guard training base, right?
Mm-hmm.
The firearms in our training base. And anyway, we'll leave that one alone too. But
right, yeah, no problem.
Just saying, I ain't worried about.
Ways of getting around it.
Yeah, there's ways to get a gun.
Do they make 80% AK lowers?
Yes.
Yes.
But they're a lot more of a pain in the ass than an AR, I'll tell you that. I looked into it.
Well,
and man, you got to have a lot more equipment.
It's just a folded flat. It's not like a lower, an AR lower. You still have to rivet the trunnions. It's
a lot of work.
And cut the 80% lower. So they're not like helping you out much. You
can get them already bent and not parkerized, but heat treated. Yeah, you can get it already bent and heat treated, which is helpful, right? But yeah, you still got to have a press and riveters and a lot of more know-how than with the AR. Man, the AR is pretty much idiot proof. You can just go to town on it now.
Yeah, I mean you can. Shit, I seen somebody build an AR lower from flats. Just taking flats and screws and put together one that it held out for 100 rounds.
Yeah, I have
3D printer.
I have the well, yeah, you can do that too. I have the Easy Jig Gen 2, right? So, pretty much all I need is an 80% lower. I got the router, and it's pretty straightforward. Within 30 minutes, you got a firearm.
Well, you know what? They might be closing that loophole too. If they get all crazy, they'll be like, nobody's allowed to manufacture private firearms anymore. And because technically you can in the United States, right? That's why 80% lower is illegal. Because if you manufacture your own for home use and you don't sell it, it's yours forever. It's your gun. You can pretty much make anything other than a full auto, right? And that's only because of that 86 Hughes Amendment. Before 86, you could take that same AR lower, make an M16 lower, and have it shoot full auto. You made it yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You'd still have to register it with the government, but you made it yourself. Then that Hughes Amendment outlawed that shit altogether. No.
Yeah, no. Educate me on why the Hughes Amendment was even around, because there wasn't a mass shooting with an automatic that set that one up, was there?
That was the St. Valentine's Day massacre, wasn't it?
St. Valentine's Day was in the 30s or the 20s with Al Capone. That's why we couldn't buy it fully. Yeah, that's why we couldn't buy it. Well, in 1932, they said you can't buy fully autos anymore, right? Without a tax stamp. That was when they pretty much put in the $200 tax stamp. At the time, $200 was so much money that nobody was ever going to do it, right? Before then, you could buy a Tommy gun in a hardware store, fully auto. And then it was in 1986 where they came out saying that no longer could you have no more could fully autos be manufactured, right? So anything 86 and beyond that's already out there is fine, but no new fully automatics. So that's why a fully automatic Sear or AK or whatever is like $30,000, because you can't make them anymore. Even though it's a $5 part, it's not legal to make it. So there's a limited number, and that's why they're so damn expensive, supposedly. But I don't know what was the catalyst of that amendment.
Some shooting. It wasn't Reagan's shooting. It was somebody else's. I don't remember which fucking horrible thing that happened that caused that to be started to be worked on.
Kind of stupid though, because I don't remember of any fully auto shootings that would have called for that. But I mean, not like they need that for that an excuse.
Dude, you don't even want to get into it. I don't think there was one.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a tragedy, really. I think it was snuck in under some fucking other bill that got passed along. And after Reagan got shot and they didn't get any fucking legislation done because, right, the 2A people, even then, the NRA and the moral majority were behind Reagan, right? So he had to play to his audience to get reelected in 84. But after 84, he didn't have to play anymore, and he could allow that through, and he fucking signed it, right? So he could allow that fucking through with no questions asked under the radar, right? Nobody fucking knew about it. It just happened. Along with a lot of bands from a bunch of countries. The
cowboy president, likes his 6-shooter, not his, 100-shooter.
Yeah, not his AK, because a lot of AKs got banned. That's why there's no more Valmets past then, and fucking the Chinese had to redo everything and then started bringing in their fucking other ones with the thumbhole stocks and all that shit. Yeah, man. They were long on their way to that fucking 94 ban before Clinton got in office.
Yeah.
Right? Think about when Clinton was elected. He signed it. It wasn't in legislation and getting up there through him. It was in legislation and getting up there through fucking Bush 1. And that's where it's scary about fucking people don't know their own goddamn history in their own fucking country. They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah, they're too busy. And that's the crazy thing, right? That's what they're selling the American people. That's why there's so many distractions. Hey, look at what Hollywood's doing. Hey, look at what Lady Gaga's doing. Hey, look at over here. Hey, there's a new movie coming out with the same fucking script as the last one we just put out. Hey, we're making a remake of this movie. Anything to keep you asleep, because if you woke up and actually knew what the hell was going on, boy, a lot more people would be pissed. But people don't want to be woken up. They know kind of what's going on, but they choose to put their head in the sand because they don't want to fucking deal with it.
Dude, most of them still want to fight the fucking Civil War. You know what I'm saying? They want to go back. They don't want to go forward, right? And they don't want to see just think of the mentality that says for us to turn over our guns to the police and the government that they hate, right? They call Trump Hitler, yet they want us to turn our guns over to Hitler. They call the police Gestapo, right? And they're anti-black and anti-people of color, and yet we're supposed to turn all our firearms over to them. And they should be the only ones that have them, is Trump's military and the police.
That's where they lose the argument, in my opinion. You can't call somebody Hitler and police racist pigs who are targeting minorities, and then say they're the only ones that should have firearms like that. You lost the argument right there.
But they don't even see that argument, even when you're slapping them in the face with it. It's ridiculous.
You could speak about that, huh, Reb? Slapping people in the face with it.
How do you know? Anyway.
Reb left us already.
I just wanted to see if he was there, but apparently not.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it's 11:30 my time. I said I was only going to do this for about an hour. Hour and a half sounds like a good one. We had fun. You know what? I'm going to do it again next Wednesday, same time, after Blog Talk Radio. I'll open one of these. I'll throw the link in. Hopefully we have the same old panel. That'll be awesome.
Maybe send me a message, man.
I'll try. You know, if you're not on Facebook, that's the easiest fucking way to me to do it is through Facebook Messenger. It just
that's how I got it. It works for me. Reb, maybe not, but me, I can get it through that.
Yeah, Reb don't get on. Reb gave up on that shit a long time ago. He's like, fuck it, I'm just going to live life. So, you guys want to say anything before I turn this thing off?
Be free.
What's up?
Yeah, we don't want to drag out this any longer. If you want to cut it off, you better not say anything.
Well, no. Hopefully you guys will be back next week, right? I mean, this fight is not going to be a short one. It never is when it comes to guns. You got to be ready to stick in for the long haul. And maybe, look at what happened with HD and, Tony for sticking up for their fucking rights, just to even be able to protest down there with a firearm in Bundy. So they're still getting fucked with for that. So you got to be ready to stick in for the long haul. So we'll talk to you guys next week. If you want to like it, if you want to leave a comment afterwards. Oh, Polo Loco's finally jumped in. What's up? Let me throw out some quick shout outs. That's the last one I seen. He came in a minute or two before we went. So anyway, we're done. Let me get over to that screen and I'm going to turn off the broadcast.
Enjoy the rest of your week, guys.
Yeah, you too, man.
Right.